please let me make sure everybody that is in this room here, in the courtroom, has their phone on vibrate or in silence, please, so it won't go off. Thank you.
One thing, everything else is bad, but not.
You just put it on the desk. You just put it on the desk.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay, of course. Anytime, please.
You put it over there? All rise.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. This Circuit Court of the 11th Judicial Circuit in and for Miami-Dade County is now in session. The Honorable Judge Nushin Safety presiding. All persons having business before this court come nigh, and you shall be heard. God save the United States of America and this honorable court.
Thank you, Lair. Good afternoon, family, friends, guests here and in the overflow courtrooms, and to all of our virtual guests, welcome to the investiture of the Honorable Carlos Gamez as County Court Judge of the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida. Please remain standing as we ask some very special guests to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. This is going to be a cute one, folks. Judge Gamez's children, Carlos, 21, and Sophia, 19, Andres, age 4, and Ignacio, age 2.
Try not to squeeze them too hard there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
I'm not going to lie, it's hard to look at the flag when there's so much cuteness behind us. Thank you, children.
buddy.
Well done. As we continue to remain standing, please welcome Father Guillermo Manuel Garcia Tunon of the Belen Jesuit Preparatory School.
Thank you. Just very briefly, as I was sitting there waiting to begin, I noticed the seal of the 11th Judicial Court for Miami-Dade County. There's a little phrase at the bottom that says, "We who labor here seek only truth." Man, that's a tall order. Problem is that all too often truth is not very easily found. To a very large extent, it's because it's hidden. And sometimes it's hidden naturally, and that's kind of like the fuel for scientists and theologians and philosophers. But sometimes it's hidden maliciously, and that's where you guys come in, right? Why maliciously? The truth hurts, and there are consequences to the truth, as we all know. And so, as we gather together, I love to take this opportunity, because it's not the first time, but I do like to take the opportunity of reminding us. I always go back to St. Thomas More, who is the patron saint of lawyers and judges. And he was Chancellor of England during the reign of King Henry VIII, and he was beheaded for discovering the truth and sticking to the consequences when they eventually came, because he refused to follow simply the law of the reign or the law of man, because he had a higher authority to respond to, which was the law of God. And so it is incredibly important for us to remember our obligations, not only to the positive law, the natural law, but also to the divine law ordained by God himself. So I invite you all to please bow your heads. Our Lord and our God, we ask your blessings today upon your servant, Judge Carlos Gamez. Bless him with wisdom, patience, respect, and adherence to the law for all who will appear before him. Grant him a temperament that values all persons, regardless of economic and social class, ethnicity, or color. We give thanks for all those who impacted his life and instilled in him a strong respect for the law and a sense of justice. O Lord, we pray this day you might rain down from heaven, from the fountain that never shall run dry, abundant blessings upon your servant Carlos. May his investiture this day be the beginning of a lifetime of judicial excellence and service. We ask all this in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father. Everyone, please be seated. On this very special day, we have, not that all of you aren't special, but we have some special guests who have joined us. Please stand as I call your name, and if you're out there virtually, just know that we're happy that you're here. I will ask in vain that you hold your applause to the end. From Miami-Dade County Public Schools, we have Walter Harvey, who's a school board attorney, as well as, I believe, a past member of the Judicial Nominating Commission. Vicki Mendez from the City of Miami, City Attorney. Eric Eves, Assistant City Attorney, also from the City of Miami. Stephanie Panoff, Assistant City Attorney, also with the City of Miami. Gary McNulty, Senior Assistant Senior Attorney from the City of Miami. From the City of Miami Beach, Henry Hunnefeld, First Assistant City Attorney. From the City of West Miami, Eric Diaz-Padrón, Vice Mayor. From the 3rd District Court of Appeals, and also from our very own 11th Judicial Circuit, we have Judge Alex Boker and Judge Norma Lindsay. From the 9th Judicial Circuit, Judge Andrew Bain. We have visitors? Is he virtual?
He got on the road this morning. He should be here shortly.
Okay, so everyone please behave. We have a visitor from another circuit. Miriam Soler Ramos, President of the Cuban American Bar Association. I saw there she is. And Francis de la Guardia, past President of the Cuban American Bar Association. I should also note that Miriam is the attorney for Coral Gables. Roger Slade, President-elect of the Miami-Dade Bar Association. Silvana Rosende, Committee Chair of the Florida Association for Women Lawyers, Miami-Dade Chapter. Jude Fachadomo, President of the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers statewide, and Kevin Hellman, President of the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers Miami-Dade chapter. Dory Foster Morales, past President of the Florida Bar, and Nakia Ruffin, President of the Gwyneth Cherry Black Women Lawyers Association. Travis Randolph with us virtually, President of the Wilkie D. Ferguson Jr. Bar Association. William Vanderweyden, former retired Dean for Professional Development at the University of Miami School of Law. Javier Le Soto, where's Javi? I know he's here, from Miami, General Counsel for Miami-Dade College. Richard Cooper with us virtually, he's the Executive Director of the Miami-Dade County League of Cities, and Karen Lattis, Executive Director of Dade Legal Aid. And no one applauded. Now we can applaud. That's a first for me. Also here today, we have members of our Greater Court family. On behalf of Carlos Martinez, our public defender, we have Rick DeMaria, Deputy Chief, I don't know, something big. Rick's way up there. Our State Attorney, Catherine Fernandez-Rundle. On behalf of Eugene Zenobia, our Regional Counsel, we have Jeffrey Walker. And on behalf of Harvey Rubin, our Clerk of Courts, we have Director Doreen Ruggiero, who's with us virtually. And finally, supporting our day-to-day court operations, we are nothing without them. On behalf of our Administrative Office of Courts, Mary Larea, there's Mayor. And I know, you guys, I've been doing this a lot, so it sounds like I'm just saying this all the time, but our incredible AV team that makes these events not just possible for us to view later on, but also possible for all of our virtual guests to be here. And during COVID, that's been especially important, but certainly when we have guests that can't be here, it's wonderful for people to be able to see it virtually. So thank you to our amazing AV team. And to Eunice Sigler and Marissa Gavica, our Public Information Officer team. And as of today, my staff, who's now going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting for investitures, my JA and wizard, Ara Johnson, she's out in the hallway, and Larry Chester, my bailiff, who you all have gotten to know. And thank you to them for working so hard to make this day special, not just for our circuit, but for the judge as well. If there was anyone I forgot, I'm sure my phone's going to start blowing up with all my colleagues telling me, Nushin, you forgot this person. But if there's anyone that's been forgotten, please let Ara or Marissa or Eunice know, and I'll make sure to introduce you. And for now, for remarks on behalf of the Florida Bar, we have past president and esteemed attorney, great friend of the courts. Please welcome Dory Foster Morales.
May it please the court, Chief Judge Safey, Judge Gamez, and everyone, all the judges here today. It is always, always my honor and pleasure to be here on behalf of the Florida Bar and its over 108,000 members to come before this court in this beautiful ceremonial courtroom to bring greetings on behalf of the Florida Bar as my role as past president. Of course, I wanted to personally welcome everyone who has come here today to finally, in public, congratulate and celebrate Judge Gamez, who is finally being formally invested to the bench. Thank you, of course, goes out to the many members of the bench and bar, along with Judge Gamez's beautiful family and his friends, who are all here today, both in person and virtually, as we say, to celebrate this incredibly monumental occasion. You know, we have a saying in court, justice delayed is justice denied. You all heard that? Investiture delayed is not investiture denied. In fact, they also say good things come to those who wait. So while Judge Gamez was appointed right after the pandemic began in April of 2022, he patiently awaited his investiture as it was delayed like the rest of our lives, making today that much more sweeter. I know Judge Gamez pretty well, and I would venture to guess he probably said when it was being his time to come up for his investiture, why bother? What's all the fuss? I've been on the bench for 2 years. It's not that important. But you know what? With so many hardships in the world today around the pandemic and world events, in my opinion, it is that much more important to celebrate the good things in life. So today, Judge Gamez, we celebrate you and what you have accomplished with the support, of course, of your beautiful family. Today, we applaud Governor DeSantis for appointing Judge Gamez to the county court bench in our circuit. And I know, because people talk, that Judge Gamez has already proven himself to be a really incredible jurist. And I personally am particularly proud, as I'm sure he is, of his work in mental health and the domestic violence cases he presides over, an issue very near and dear to my heart, which I know is truly helping the families of Miami-Dade County. And like I said, I'm lucky because I knew Judge Gamez and his wife well before he became a judge. And as we all know, we're all connected in Miami. You know, they talk about 7 degrees of separation. I think it's like 2 or 3 in Miami. I recently spoke at an investiture of a friend of mine who went to Beach High, and I made everyone stand up who had gone to Beach High and announced the year of their graduation. And I didn't even know it, but the judge who swore in the new judge also went to Beach High. Like, the whole room stood up. And so I look around today and I go, well, probably I could do the same thing with Belen. I obviously did not go to Belen. But as Father Willie knows, I am the proud mother of a Belen graduate, class of 2019, if you want to know the year. And I'm sure so many of you are also connected, either my neighbors who are here today, Lori and Albert, by Belen, by Judge Gamez's incredible public service to the city of Miami. So I knew, because of all that Judge Gamez was the perfect appointment. And I also know, that Judge Gamez is truly a product of our rich fabric of our community, having been born and raised here, educated here, except for that brief stint at The Ohio State University. He came to the good sense of coming back, and where he has chosen, of course, to live and raise his family, his 4 beautiful children, along with his wife, Annie Hernandez Gamez, another incredible, incredible member of the Florida Bar. I'm sure when he speaks, he will tell you more about his life and his roots, but he is truly the son of Miami. It's, in my opinion, those roots that serve him particularly well in his appointment to the county court, the People's Court. So in closing, Judge Gamez, again, on behalf of all the 108,000 members of the Florida Bar, congratulations. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak on this special day. I look forward to all that you're going to accomplish. The bar smiles on you today.
A couple more introductions. Welcome, Judge Andrew Bain from the 9th Judicial Circuit of Florida. And I'm not sure why I did this, but I neglected to introduce Pat Gladson, our general counsel, who keeps me in line and keeps the rest of us in line all day, every day. And now for remarks on behalf of the Miami-Dade Bar Association, we have the president-elect of the organization, another distinguished attorney. Please welcome Roger Slade.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Judge Safety. Welcome, everybody. My name is Roger Slade. I'm president-elect of the Miami-Dade Bar, and it's my honor and privilege to speak at the investiture of my very good friend, Carlos Gamez, who I've known for many years. First, maybe a little bit of plug about the Miami-Dade Bar and the things that we're doing. We are sponsoring a program called Approach the Bench, where we will be interviewing various members of the judiciary and posting that interview by videotape on our website. The initiative is in its formative stages, but we hope to have that up and running in the next few months. And the goal is to show the members of the judiciary in a different light and to make our court system more accessible to the public. We're also going to focus at the Miami-Dade Bar on the life balance challenges of lawyers, which remains a big issue in our profession. I was very pleased to be asked to speak today about Carlos Gamez because I've known him for many years. From my perspective, at least, Carlos has achieved an enviable work-life balance that could be a model for all of us. So let me tell you about a few of the things that I know about Carlos Gamez. I first met Carlos Gamez at a function where we were introduced maybe 15 years ago at the Cuban-American Bar. When I first met him, for whatever reason, every event that I would go to, I would see Carlos. I saw Carlos at motion calendar, at Miami-Dade Bar functions, in restaurants, and suddenly Carlos Gamez and I are in the same room everywhere. So it was then that I figured that he and I must have a lot in common, We seem to keep the same schedule, we have the same friends, and we frequent the same events. But one fateful night, several years ago, Carlos Gamez turns up at the Cuban-American Bar Gala function, which I attended. And at that time, I was partnered at a law firm called Path & Lewis, which had no real connection to the Cuban-American bar until we hired Annie Hernandez, who basically convinced us to buy a table. So at that function, I remember this, I believe I was the one that introduced Carlos and Annie, even though they only spoke for 5 minutes. And I followed up with them over time. Later, I heard through the grapevine that they were dating, and of course now they're married, and so I'm taking full credit for introducing them. But apparently, like any set of lawyers, there are other people making similar claims. And so at some point, we're going to have some type of hearing to resolve who it really was that introduced the two of them. But I'm very happy for both of them. But even after they were married, Carlos and I have continued our streak of running into one another everywhere, in court, at bar functions, in Starbucks, Coral Bagels, La Carreta, and many other places. And it was never prearranged. In fact, I was very happy to be invited here today because even though I've known Carlos more than 10 years, I think this is the first time that he and I have ever had a prearranged meeting. So let me tell you what I've learned about Carlos Gamez as a result of 10 full years of happenstance, and incredible coincidences. Carlos sets a strong example of someone who has achieved what so many of us want as practicing lawyers, and that is a balance between career and family. It turns out that Carlos and I have a tremendous array of friends and family in common, and they all say pretty much the same thing about Carlos. He has a reputation as a committed family man and a great father. He's a great lawyer and a thoughtful jurist. He has a wide variety of life experience that makes him uniquely qualified for the job, some of which I can speak about here today, and others, I'm told by his friends, I'm not permitted to speak about. I did make several phone calls to find out about Carlos, what he was like as a young man, and I was told by more or less everybody that we're not going to be able to talk about that. But there are some things we can talk about, and we should. I don't know if you know, but Carlos is a lifelong musician who played saxophone in middle school and high school, and still plays to this day with his band, as far as I know, the 540s. In case you didn't know, the name the 540s means 5 guys that are 40 years old. But I think, Carlos, it may be time to change it to 550s. I know that Carlos really loves being a lawyer and being a judge, but I'm sure if you asked him, he would say that he would much rather be a rock star. So, Carlos, there's no reason you cannot do both. Be a judge during the day and a rock star at night. I want to congratulate you on behalf of the Miami-Dade Bar. You've been a good friend for many years. You're friends with my family, with my brother-in-law, Juan, my wife, and I've watched you in your interaction with Annie. I'm so happy for everything that's happened for you. You've set a great example for the community. So from the Miami-Dade Bar Association and my entire family, we congratulate you and wish you much success.
We have some plaques here today commemorating this special day from the Conference of County Court Judges, and you've been waiting for this for 2 years, I know, is your desk plate.
Still the same name.
Still the, what? Oh, yeah, well, no, now there's a big honorable in front of it, so. Also from the Cuban American Bar Association for your walls, which might have been empty. Now you've got some stuff to hang up, a beautiful plaque. And also from the City of Miami, a gift, which I have not opened, but you can open it yourself later on. So, some swag for you, Judge Gamez. Now, personal remarks on behalf of the judge's family and friends. Please welcome Attorney Roy Gonis, friend and mentor to Judge Gamez. Hang on, Mom's going to lay down the law over here.
Your Honor.
Go ahead, talk loud.
Your Honors. Members of the public, fellow brethren in the bar, it's put in that order because as the late Judge William Hoovler would remind us, our lawyers' first responsibility is to the public. Now, Judge Gamez, when he requested presence for this beautiful occasion, reminded me, no, told me that this is a solemn occasion. The members of the bar, I don't have your status, and by the way, I'm a lousy joke teller. So, Your Honor, you'll be pleased, I'm going to be straight. Incidentally, our relationship started at the Rotary Club in South Miami. You knew that was going to come up. And it was just by acquaintance. And one day, he calls and said, I'm leaving my work and taking a new position to afford me the opportunity to study law. And he asked if I would be involved with him in the process. Having worked with other students for many years, and a great privilege, I agreed, and through this, truly a magnificent friendship came about, one that I certainly cherish, even if he didn't become a judge. Well, with these thoughts, in front of his beautiful family and honorable members of the leaders of our public, the bar, and the bench, let me get serious for a moment. I started to think about this and drafted something and looked at it a couple weeks later and threw it away. Why? Why are we here? And the thought came to this. Aren't we also honoring our cherished Constitution? So why is that said? Because we have before us, ladies and gentlemen, the keepers of the key to sustain the status of a limited Constitution as our founders had drafted for us. We're reminded in Federalist 78, Publius is quoted under the pen, we're told, of Alexander Hamilton, there is no liberty if the judiciary is subordinate to legislative and executive powers. You all share that key. And it's a tremendous responsibility. We all understand it and respect it. So why is it truly mentioned? Because members of the bench, the public expects when you are appointed and while you're on the bench, certainly at least three among a number of things: integrity, temperance, intelligence. You would stop and think about character. In addition to integrity, we could think of compassion, generosity, self-discipline, and there are other traits or components we could think of that constitute character. Why is this said? Because some time ago, Judge Gamez invited me to his court, and virtually he was conducting a motion calendar. So I got to see this new judge go through his calendar. There, sitting at the end of a long table, I'm witnessing something that truly warmed the heart. I start ticking off these character traits, one after the next. And then it came to mind when a late esteemed member of our bar, Henry Burnett, was being honored by the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida. After Henry gave thanks to the court, he spoke of one of its late members, Joe Eaton. And Henry went through a number of experiences when he appeared before Judge Eaton and concluded that Joe Eaton was born to be a judge. Sitting at the end of this table, watching the Honorable Carlos Gamez, thinking of all these character traits, thinking of a late friend's comments about an esteemed former member of our local federal court, members of the judiciary, ladies and gentlemen, I can only think who we have here and truly honor here today is a man who is born to be a judge, the Honorable Carlos Gamez. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And now for further personal remarks on behalf of the judge's family and friends, please welcome, I'm going to refer to her as his glorious better half, because we give the judges who are going to have investitures a worksheet to fill out so I can do my remarks, and he labeled her his glorious better half. So I said, well, it's good enough for me. Attorney Ana Marie Gamez, a.k.a. Annie Hernandez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here. And I apologize if I go a little long. I just have so much to say about my husband. So the other time that I had the distinct pleasure to speak at an investiture was actually in June of 2013 for one of my BFFs, County Court Judge Betty Capote. As you can see, she's actually sitting here today because she's so talented and committed to other things that she's overseeing the HMBA's annual moot court competition right at this very moment. And so it's only fitting that today, my second time at this podium, even though he actually didn't ask me to, it was more assumed, I get to give the remarks on behalf of my wonderful husband. For those that may have attended Judge Capote's investiture, you may remember that in my concluding remarks, I thanked Betty, not only on my own behalf, but on behalf of my future husband, whoever that may be. And I referenced that occasion because I had no inkling at that time that I would be standing in this courtroom nearly 9 years later to tell you all about my intelligent, caring, patient, devout, and overall best friend and father to Carlos and Sofia and our two beautiful boys, Andres and Ignacio. Carlos may be older than me, but I have a number of years on him professionally. In fact, he was a baby lawyer when we first met at the annual CABA elections in December of 2008. It is ironic that he now serves in the DV division because, as some of you may have heard, he was actually stalking me that evening to introduce himself and compliment my hair. And then he kept on showing up. After that, he kept on showing up at friends' birthday parties and other events just to bump into me. Sometime after I got over the initial creep factor, we exchanged numbers and saw each other at events and fundraisers over several years. We had some friends and acquaintances in common, like Roger mentioned, including several in this room that you already have heard lay claim onto our match. And I often heard great things about him. He thought I was aloof, and I thought he was insecure since he never would ask me out. We had our first date in August 2012. I invited him. After a night of dancing and 70s fun at the Donkey Show, our date ended abruptly with some 20-somethings failing to yield to a blinking red light, an airbag deployment, and my broken index finger. It was another 19 months before we had our second first date. in late March 2014. I actually reached out to him first, but he did suggest we meet, so I'll give him credit for that one. And our fate was sealed after that 4-hour brunch at Swine. So now that you know a little bit about our backstory, let me tell you why I love this man so much. Some of you that have attended one of his fundraisers probably know a little bit about what I'm about to share with you. My man for all seasons is a Miami boy, born to Cuban parents that came here like most, fleeing the communist country and seeking a better life. He played baseball throughout his adolescence. Yankees and Roberto Clemente were his favorites, and was a high school band geek. And yes, he actually was a band geek. He initially majored in music and then realized he lacked the discipline to make a living as a musician, although his lifelong passion for jazz and music in general is witnessed daily in our house. Carlos then set out to attend a top 25 business school and left to the Ohio State University. I have to say the because he'll correct me otherwise. We joked that I finished middle school and high school by the time he got his college degree in 1994. In reality, it took him a while because he was paying his own way through school and took some semesters off to work full-time so he could pay tuition and his living expenses. I know very few people with a work ethic and commitment like his. He spent 9 years in Columbus. He studied, worked various jobs, including modeling, and played sax in the #1 wedding circuit band. I think he may have been inspired by Play That Funky Music, White Boy, as he was the only white guy in the R&B band. Carlos returned to Miami in 1998 and welcomed his wonderful children, Carlos and Sofia, soon after. It was while the kids were just 2 and 4 that he decided to leave his successful career in finance behind and pursue his career in law. He took a job in pharmaceutical sales so that he could still provide for his family while attending law school at night. His pharma territory extended from Palm Beach through the Florida Keys. He would spend his days adding hundreds of miles to his car for work and then making the trek from the Gables to Nova at night. In the midst of this, he also became a single dad with complete shared custody. He eventually transferred to UM, where he graduated law school in December 2007. But don't let his sporting Canes attire fool you. Much to my chagrin, he is a Buckeye first. The 2002 championship game is never mentioned in our house. His dedication to his children is unmatched. I always marvel at how he managed it all and makes it look easy. He is blessed with a strong faith, the best attitude, and a terrific sense of humor. That's probably why he got me to say, yeah, okay, let's do it. As Churchill said, attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Even though he excelled in his work in pharmaceutical sales, earning awards and trips in just those few short years, he left that behind and took a risk in opening his own practice while also working as needed with one of his childhood friends. He put his securities background to use and handled some FINRA arbitrations, and later became well-versed in construction litigation and commercial litigation while working with his Emmaus brother and a fellow CABA past president, and later personal injury and municipal law while at the city of Miami, also working with another great CABA past president, so there's a little bit of a theme there. When we started dating, Carlos made it clear that he was a package deal. Not only did he have his kids every other week and every other Thursday, but that his then 84-year-old mom was also living with him. He managed to juggle it all. A busy litigation practice and trials, driving between Coral Gables, Miami Shores, Aventura, Sweetwater, and later South Miami when Sophie was at Lourdes. He drove all throughout the Tri-County area, attending volleyball tournaments and West Florida for rowing tournaments. And he willingly agreed to do it all over again when we started our family. My husband is a man of many passions and pursues them all with ardent fervor. Though he received his first communion as a child, he did not go back to the church until his time in Ohio. And rather than just accepting his faith, he actually attended many different churches and studied about all different Christian faiths before choosing to be confirmed as Catholic. He's not one to make a decision lightly. It is no surprise that he is a guest lecturer at adult RCIA classes. He knows vastly more about our faith than I do, even though I went to parochial school for 7 years. I quip with him that I thought perhaps he actually would have entered the seminary if we had not gotten together, but I'm so glad God put him in my path instead. He still plays sax, as you heard, and is the lead singer in a pop rock cover band he started with his childhood friends. Perhaps you've actually seen them perform at the Dade Legal Aid's Battle of the Bands. And Karen, it's actually because of that that I emailed him that one night before we got together for our 4-hour brunch because I thought he was performing. He is also quite skilled at the guitar, even though he just picked it up in September 2020. He is also a talented painter, a voracious reader, and an avid sports fan. He is truly my modern Renaissance man. When he mentioned that his good friend and mentor, Roy, thought that he would be a fine jurist, I wholeheartedly agreed and encouraged him to pursue it. Even if that meant leaving me at home with 202 during his interviews with the governor, including the charmed one right before the world shut down to COVID. I think he got the last flight out of Tallahassee. Working remotely these last 2 years has only reinforced what Roy and I and several others saw in him. For much of his time on the bench, I have had the great fortune to see him in action at our dining room table. He takes his work seriously, treats all parties with respect, humility, compassion, and toughness when required. And that's whether they're pro se or represented. They're all the same before him. To me, what's always the most moving is to hear him at the end of a hearing after he has ruled, addressing parties with children, always reminding them of the important role not only in their children's lives, but in each other's as co-parents. While I may be biased, I think he is an amazing addition to the bench, and I am so happy for him. And my final personal tidbit that I will share is that when we first started dating, I was really nervous that he would be intimidated by my career and my professional successes. For some time, many in the legal community often referred to him as my husband or asked if he was married to Annie Hernandez. As a true testament to the person that he is, he always remarked how proud and happy that made him. Now I am the one that gets introduced as Judge Gamez's wife or is asked if I am married to Judge Gamez. I cannot tell you how happy and proud that makes me feel. We are truly blessed. I love you and congratulations.
And now for the oath of office and robing, I would like to ask our colleague, Circuit Judge Diana Vizcaino, a close friend of Judge Gamez, to join Judge Gamez and his family at the podium for the oath. Welcome back up, daughter Sophia and sons Carlos, Andres, and Ignacio, and of course, Annie Hernandez, his wife.
And Chief, if I may have a few moments, please. Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished guests, family, friends of Judge Gamez, colleagues, this is truly an honor. As we all know, Judge Gamez has been on the bench for almost 2 years, and Judge Gamez has demonstrated nothing but the traits of an excellent jurist. He is humble, he is sincere, he is courteous, strict adherence to the rule of law, and this community is blessed to have him on this bench. He served the citizens of the city of Miami with excellence, and we wish you all, Judge Gamez, continued success serving the people of Miami-Dade County. It is truly our honor, and thank you for this opportunity. My friend, it's a pleasure. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Carlos Gamez,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the government
and the
of
government
the United States of America
of the United States of
and of
America
the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am qualified
that I am qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution
under the Constitution
of the state of Florida,
of the state of Florida,
and that I will
and that I will
well and faithfully
well and faithfully
perform the duties
perform the duties
of judge
of judge
of the county court
of the county court
of the 11th Judicial Circuit
of the 11th Judicial Circuit
of the state of Florida,
of the state of Florida,
on which I am now about to enter.
on which now I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Judge Gamez.
Wait till he buttons up. This is why we tell all the judges to order the zipper.
Chief Judge, Safety, learned brothers and sisters of the bench, family and friends. It was suggested to me that if I find myself a little bit overwhelmed by all of the loving faces that I see in the audience, and I find myself a little bit nervous, that perhaps a moment of levity might be appropriate. But then I'm mindful of the admonition that this is a dignified and a solemn event. So I've elected to reject that proposition. Let me begin by welcoming you all. Thank you for being here at the 161st Investiture of 2022. So thank you all for... I begin, as always, by giving right praise to Almighty God for His abundant graces in creating this day. It is truly overwhelming to see all of your faces looking up at me at this moment in time. I know all of you many of you have done this and know what this feels like. It's quite a bit. I'd like to also thank Governor DeSantis for his confidence in me and appointing me to this greatest job on the planet. I'd like to personally thank his Chief of Staff, Shane Strum, also all of the members of the Office of General Counsel, Joe Jaco, James Uthmeyer, Nick Primrose, Casey O'Connor. Former General Counsels that I'd like to thank as well that assisted a great deal in my being here today, Dan Norby, Will Spicola, Tim Serio, Jason Gonzalez, and Rocky Rodriguez. It would be a remiss on my part if I didn't also thank all of the distinguished members of the Judicial Nominating Commission that made this day possible too, for their hard work and their service to this fine circuit. I'd like to thank Walter Harvey, who was my chairman, and as I've told him after my appointment, you will always be my chairman. I know you're watching virtually, so thank you for that and your confidence. For Vice Chairman Robert Fernandez, Bob Pardo, Hayden O'Byrne, Miranda Soto, Scott Diamond, David Axelman, Dan Fridman, and Jorge Mestre. If you've attended these before, you've heard it said before that we stand on the shoulders of giants. And the truth is that I would not be here today without the extra assistance and guidance and counsel of many that are here today. Some I'd like to expressly thank: Luis Suarez, Marlene Quintana, Christine Hernandez, Harut Samra, Michael Pinheiro, Tom Spencer, Jefferson Knight. Former members of the bench: Izzy Reyes, Stan Blake. Current members of the bench that I particularly am thankful for their guidance and their time that they gave me during my appointment process and application process: Norma Lindsay, Bronwyn Miller, Gina Benavides, Carlos Guzman, Victoria Ferrer, Rudy Ruiz, and Cristina Di Ramundo. As you've heard it said, I work in the Domestic Violence Division, and it is without question a humbling and a grateful experience that I have. As I was reminded recently by a colleague in a bench and bar discussion, we work in an emergency division. It's triage is where we work. And I came onto the bench after the quarantines had already started, and I am beyond grateful for the investment of time, for the care and consideration of all of my colleagues on the Domestic Violence Division. I expressly thank Administrative Judge Carol Kelly. Carol, I know you're watching. I'm sure the scenery in Colorado is beautiful. Thank you for your call this morning at 5 a.m. your time. We miss you and we love you. DJ Canava, Associate Administrative Judge. I know you're staring at me, DJ. I get it. I'm staring back at you, man. Thank you so much for everything that you have done, and thank you for your leadership and your friendship. I'd like to thank Elaine Sosa-Brazon, Christine Bandon, Elizabeth Espinosa, and Diana Vizcaino, who were all together in the Domestic Violence Division. Thank you for taking my calls when I had questions. I also appreciate the charitable qualifier every single time with, is that how we did it before COVID or now? That's always, that was always so nice. I always appreciated that. I'd like to also thank Ramiro Arises and Zach James. The first, whose seat I was appointed to, and the other one, the chambers that I now occupy. Thank you both, and thank you for your time, and particularly Judge James for my transition onto the mental health calendar. I'd like to think I saw some of you back there. I don't have my glasses on, so my eyes don't carry that far, but I know that you're here. The administration and the directors and folks for the domestic violence unit. Adria, I know that I see you. I think I see you a little bit. Crystal. I'd like to thank all the clerks of courts and the staffs, the Spanish and Creole and Portuguese and interpreters that have all been so patient with me on this time. You've heard it said that I do, one of the great gifts that I've had and privileges is to be assigned to the Domestic Violence Mental Health Court calendar. Pioneered really by County Court Judge Steve Leifman, and we thank him for his leadership in this area. But there's several folks here from Jail Diversion Program, some of the assistant state attorneys and public defenders that are here that toil with me in that particular calendar. I have to say, some of you that have been there, you know what an experience that is. We've seen miracles occur in those courtrooms. We've seen challenges, but we've seen some miracles, and it is truly my great privilege to serve on that. This day would not be possible without two very key and important women. As we're celebrating Women's History Month, we might as well give great thanks to them as well. So Chief Judge Safey, for you, and thank you for all of your leadership. Chief Judge Emeritus Barry Soto, thank you so much, Judge, for helping me when I first came onto the bench. And I would like to thank my mentor, Judge Betty Capote. I know that she's not here today, but she's here in spirit. Father Willie, thank you so much for the inspiring words, and I'm delighted to have you with me to share this day with me today. Thank you for being here. Roger, I knew you had to take credit. I get it. That's fine. I think it's great, and I very much appreciate your words today and your kindness to me and my family always. Thank you for saying yes to speaking today and for your kind words. Dory, happy birthday to you, Dory. Indeed, our friendship has been one that has been going on for a long time. And when I called you to ask you to speak today, you were so quick to say yes, I'd be delighted to. I couldn't even finish the request. So thank you for doing that. I thank you for the kind words. And I thank you for your leadership and service to our fine state. Diana, Judge Vizcaino, I'm sorry. This was a formal, solemn event. I thank you for your friendship. I thank you being the sister from another mister, so to speak. And I am so happy and privileged that you said yes to swearing me in today. Thank you so much for doing that and for your wonderful and kind words. My day-to-day staff. I know that others get up here and they will say that they have the best staff and that they have the best bailiff and that they have the best JA. Okay. I have the best bailiff and I have the best JA. Robert and Margie, thank you so much for all that you do for me. Thank you for the gift of working alongside you. It is absolutely my privilege. And I have to stop because Margie gets very emotional and then it'll be the wreck of all of us. So I will leave it with that, okay? As Annie alluded to, I have the privilege of working with a good and dear friend, Luis Perez and Rodriguez for a period of time. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to be here today, but our friendship was one that was forged in the crucible, so to speak, and we were able to serve together, and I was delighted to begin the process of growing into a trial lawyer. And I'm thankful for him, and I'm thankful for all of the attorneys formerly at Perez and Rodriguez. To my City of Miami family, I see that some of you are here. I think that's John Greco behind the mask. Deputy, I'm so happy that you made it. It's good to see you. I'd like to thank Deputy Barnaby Min, Labor and Employment Division Chief Kevin Jones, but two in particular that I'd like to highlight. And first is my good and dear friend, Christopher Green, Litigation Chief and fellow bandmate. Great. I'm so glad you're here, Chris. It's good to see you. And a wonderful guitarist, folks, a wonderful guitarist. And my trial partner, my good and dear close friend, Douglas Harrison, for all of his encouragement and friendship and counsel. It would be, I'd be remiss without mentioning the incomparable Vicki Mendez, who was kind enough to text us on our drive-in to let us know that she was in between commission meetings or commissioner meetings. When I think of Vicki Mendez, I think of the second rock concert that my mother here, who have you've all seen, my 91-year-old mother, more on her in a minute, but she took us to a Rush concert. For those of you in the back that are not familiar, that's a 3-member rock band that play instruments. And the album that they were touring on at the time was called Grace Under Pressure. And that's exactly how I see Vicki Mendez, grace under pressure. Working at the city attorney's office, as much as it is a privilege and it's a dynamic place, it could be very chaotic at times. And so I thank you for your leadership. I thank you for the opportunity to grow as a trial lawyer there. Thank you for everything that you've done for me and my family. Roy, thank you for being here today. Something you folks may not know about Roy and the words that he said. Roy is the son of a judge, Judge John Gamez, who served with distinction in the Indiana state courts, arriving at chief judge in 1959. I was thinking, as I was preparing to speak about you, I was thinking back about 20 years ago. We met at that little coffee shop, and I said I needed a mentor. My father had passed. I was a new father, kind of staring some of the gravity of life's moments, kind of down the barrel, if you speak and if you wish. And I said I needed a mentor, and you said yes. And I was thinking, if you would have told either one of us that we would be here today like this, I would still be in that coffee shop belly aching, laughing out loud, and I would not believe it. I am so grateful for your friendship. I'm so grateful for your counsel. I'm so grateful for your fellowship and your mentorship. I love you. Thank you. To my boys, these are the ones that were kind enough to call me immediately after my appointment, and the first things out of their mouth was, "What was the governor thinking?" Right? We all need those in our lives to keep us good and humble. Mike Mesa, Jose Rodriguez, Rick Santos, who's here with me today, Tommy Mazzio, Tony Rico, Frankie Del Campillo, and Kevin Polzinski. It didn't occur to me until we get older the value of a friendship that lasts this many decades. I speak to friends, other individuals, and they'll say, "Oh, it's my best friend." "Oh, how long have you known each other?" "Oh, I don't know, since September." These are individuals that I've known going on more than 30 and sometimes 40 years. We still like each other. We still love one another, and it is an absolute gift to have you in my life, all of you. So I know that you're here, Rick. Thanks for being here, brother, and for all of the others that are in the virtual platform. A special thanks to the Mesa family, Manny, Michael, and Dahlia, who are not here today for a variety of reasons, but their parents were like second family to us when we were growing up. Less than 8 months ago, both the parents passed. I know that they're looking down today from heaven someplace, and Manolo is elbowing Dahlia and saying, "Look, Miracles happen. Look, grateful to all of them, and particularly Mike, who's been dearest friend to me most of my life. Moving on to my family, some that cannot be here today. My father, my grandparents, certain nieces and nephews, aunts and uncles that are not here that have moved on. I'd like to thank my in-laws, and I know that my mother-in-law is here somewhere, Maritere. She probably stepped out to keep it under wraps. Thank my brother-in-laws and their families. I'd like to especially thank my cousin Eddie Sarmiento for coming here today. Eddie, thank you so much. Flew in this morning from Philadelphia and was kind enough to start my day out with a good tearjerker. He gave me a photograph, 2 photographs framed. One was of my parents, his parents, and of our grandparents just before they left the homeland, Cuba. And it says at the bottom, Cuban-born, American-bound. The other photograph is a photograph I have never seen until today of me as an infant being held by my mother and my dad. So thanks for the tearjerker, Ed. I appreciate you setting out the day out on the wrong foot. Thanks for that. I'd like to thank my brother and my sister, my brother George, who's with us today. We may disagree about a lot of things, but it is without question that I could say very wholeheartedly that I don't know of anyone with a kinder heart than you, George. I love you. I thank you for being here, and always being there. My sister, Barbie, who is visiting us virtually, I know that she was able to take the lunch hour off, so I thank you for being here, Barbie. I'm so proud of you. I love you, and I miss you. To my son, Carlos, my prince. Son, it is, there was a life before you were born, and then there's one after. You solidified in me a vesting into this world that I can't ever fully explain. I am so grateful for the man that you have become, for your kind heart and your warm spirit and your intellect. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of the things that you're going to do with your life going forward. I love you. For my little ones, one here, the other one's in the back. Andres, hi, buddy. Papa loves you, buddy. Love you. Okay, there it goes. Successful parenting task 37 achieved, folks. I got it out of it. I was told by someone that they're going to keep me young. Now, I will tell you that Amazon has not delivered Ponce de Leon's fountain to the house yet, but it is an absolute joy and delight every single day that I get to watch them grow and all of the love that they show. It has been said that behind every good man there is a great woman. I will leave it to others' judgment and discernment as to the former part of that proposition. However, there can be no doubt that I am a man thrice blessed. There are 3 women that have completely catapulted and changed my life. The first one is my lovely daughter, Sophia. Don't worry, sweetie, I am not going to divulge your special nickname that I have for you, Buttercup. I'm not going to do it. It's going to be between us, and no one's going to know that I call you Buttercup. You are a strong, wise, independent, and incredible woman. It is my gift. You are my gift in this world. I am delighted to be your father, and I love you with all of my heart. The next one is my mother, Esther. Mi mami. My mom, folks, is 91 years old. I don't usually ask. She will never step out of the house again. From my mother, I get my moral compass. She was the one that said, this is right, this is wrong. Do this, don't do that. She was the one that went to every baseball game. She was the one that went to every concert. She was the one that was there for everything. And if you all will excuse me for a minute, I'd like to speak to her in Spanish, if you all will kindly excuse me. Mami, cuando yo empiezo a recordar de todos los sacrificios que tú hiciste para nosotros, te digo, mami, que no es posible a decirte a ti el cantidad de adoro que tengo para ti y la gracia que te doy para todos los sacrificios de nosotros que tú hiciste. Te quiero con todo mi alma, mami. I didn't expect her to speak back to me. Some things don't change. My family story is probably not altogether unlike many others here. They came over with one suitcase, not a Samsonite 50-pound weight limit suitcase, a suitcase in 60s. They came here with nothing. They came here with a hope. And when I think, and I take a moment to consider what that must have been like for her at 30-something years old, I can't even wrap my head around it. And to come here and just start from scratch and ascent. And to arrive at this day as grateful as I am and as humbled as I am to be here with all of you today to achieve this great gift and this great privilege, to do it in one lifetime, it's a little overwhelming. So, mami, gracias. Te quiero. Mi amor. My love. I'm glad that you went through the history because I'm mindful when you said that of a saying that says, when the heart is right, the feet are swift. And that's how I feel about you every day. My feet are swift to you every single day. Your hair looks amazing today, buddy. That's right, folks. I flirt with my wife still. And that's because every day is an anniversary. I absolutely must have done something right sometime in life to be blessed with you. You are my champion. You are an amazing mother, an incredible lawyer, an incredible stepmother. But above all of those things, my love, you are my best friend. And I am so grateful for our life together. And you're so easy on the eyes. It's so easy to do. It's just the greatest thing. I love you. I love you with all of my heart. I can picture us holding hands, making plans. Lucky for me, you understand. I was appointed on April 21st, 2020, and I have the great privilege of being appointed with Scott Janowitz and Jeffrey Kolikoff. We all had the same unique circumstance on that day of getting phone calls sometime in the middle of the afternoon on the 60th day, wondering if we were going to get the call. And so in preparation for today, I had an opportunity to kind of look back and look forward a little bit. There is, without question, the great humility that I have in being with each of you today. I cannot fully express how grateful I am to see all of my colleagues here today. Friends and family have taken time out from your busy schedules to be with us today. And I will have this absolute firm commitment and pledge to you that it will be my task every single day to toil to preserve and protect that Constitution, the structure of that Constitution, the mortar that keeps it all together, and stay in my lane. It has been said that there are those that believe that we may get to beyond shuffling off this mortal coil and that when we do that, that we may enter a paradise, that there's this host of reunion of people that we have seen and people that we haven't seen in many, many years. As I look out today and I look and see all of you on this day, smiling at me, and as many mentioned, feeling all the love in this room, I thank each and every single one of you for giving me a faint glimpse of heaven today. I thank you all for being here. I very much look forward to seeing you all at the reception later today, and may God bless each of you and your families. Thank you so much.
So Judge Gamez, welcome to the bench. I don't know about the rest of you guys. It's always such a pleasure to be here, especially when you didn't know somebody that well, because I will confess, I was one of those people who was like, who's this guy, Carlos Gamez? And everyone would say, oh, it's Annie Hernandez's husband. And I was like, oh, okay. So clearly I was right. Everyone else was thinking the same thing. And I thought, well, if he's good enough for Annie, then clearly he's going to be good enough for the rest of us. But to hear more about you today and to know that you're a rock star and you were a pharmaceutical salesperson and what was it, finance? And the model, right, the model. How did I forget the model? But the fact that your relationship started out with...
The of the modeling is going to be
Well, the DV stalker part was the only part I was a little bit concerned about. But I think it's clear that now in the last 2 years, you've definitely proven yourself to me and to all of us and the people of Dade County, and I know that all of your colleagues and all of our court family are so grateful to have you. So we wish you all the best. And for everyone who would like to greet Judge Gamez and his family, please come out this way to your right. And the court's in recess on behalf of all the judges and the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida. We are grateful, and court is in recess. Good job.
Thank you.
All these people are going to jump over here, as you know.
Yes, please.